This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 9th day of January in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Here's what we're tracking tonight. A 33-year-old laborer of Leopold Street, Georgetown, was gunned down this morning on Durban Street in a drive-by execution that has left investigators baffled. The victim, Anthony Charles, also known as Skittle, was walking along Durban Street in the company of another laborer when a grey Toyota motor car was seen approaching the men from behind. Gunshots rang out shortly after, forcing both men to run. Charles was hit multiple times and collapsed to the ground, while the other laborer, Dexter Lawrence, managed to escape. Investigators reported that Lawrence later recounted that he glanced back after the car stopped behind him and Charles, and he saw a man in a dark-colored hooded jacket exiting the car and firing shots at Charles. The suspect reportedly escaped from the area after jumping back into the same Toyota Allion motor car. The car was last seen speeding along Smythe Street. When emergency services and the police arrived at the scene, the victim was seen lying on his back in a pool of blood with visible gunshot wounds. The police said there were 3 gunshot wounds to his neck, 1 to his right jaw, 1 to his left jaw, 1 to his left side forehead, 1 to his right side forehead, 1 to his left hand, 2 to his right side lower back, and 2 to his right shoulder. The police said several 9mm spent shells, 5 warheads, and a metal fragment were found at the scene. Investigators have since ascertained that the registration number that was identified on the car used in the execution was a fake number. A number of persons in the area have since been questioned about the crime. The man's family broke down in tears as they arrived on the scene. The murder victim, Anthony Charles, was well known to the police and had previous brushes with the law. 5 years ago, he was charged in connection with an armed robbery case. At the time of his execution this morning, Charles was working in the Durban Street area as part of a cleanup initiative with local contractors hired by the government. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say, but now that it's here, it will change life forever, and it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Giftland Office Max, we're all about customer satisfaction. Whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance, we're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Let's tell you now that President Irfan Ali has invited the private sector of India to invest in Guyana's economy, saying that the time is right for major investments from India, given the country's long and friendly relationship with Guyana. President Ali, who is on an official visit to India, made the remarks while addressing officials of the Indian government and business community today. He said Guyana looks to India for leadership on several critical areas and is also looking for closer collaboration with India.
On this note, Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, I assure you that the economic opportunity, growth, and potential of Guyana is open to the entire private sector of India to participate fully and to be involved in the transformation that is taking place.
Touching on the country's economic prospects, the president told the gathering that Guyana's economy is now in full takeoff mode with development. He said this transformation stage of the country's development could be enhanced with the support from countries like India.
Our intention is to position Guyana to be among the leaders in the world in energy security, climate security, food security, fresh water, and heat. Full-scale human resource development that provides the best health and educational services, and India is an important strategic partner in achieving all of this.
President Ali has thanked the government of India for its donation of COVID-19 vaccines to other small states when the country itself was battling the pandemic. The president is in India for a week-long visit where he's scheduled to meet with Indian government officials and several private sector businesses. He will also receive a special award from the government of India. A Guyanese man is among two persons nursing gunshot wounds in New York after a drive-by shooting outside a nightclub. According to reports, Guyanese Lorex Fraser, who was well known as Polo Boss, and another man were standing outside the Impulse nightclub in Queens, New York, when gunmen opened fire from a passing car early on Sunday morning. Fraser was shot to his back, according to reports, while the other man was shot to his legs. The police suspect that Fraser was the intended target of the drive-by shooting. The gunmen crashed their white BMW motorcar into a power pole after hitting down another man during their escape bid, forcing them to abandon the car. Both shooting victims remain hospitalized, nursing their gunshot wounds. The investigations into the incident are ongoing in New York. In Linden, investigators there are probing the drowning death of an 18-year-old Emilius Ward man. He passed away on Sunday following a drowning at the Cara Blue Lake while in the company of friends. The dead teen's name has been given as Cam Thomas. He was a student of the Linden Technical Institute. A police statement indicated that on Sunday afternoon, Thomas and four of his friends went to the Blue Lake and two of them ventured into the water for a swim. The report said Thomas and one of his friends were swimming from the eastern side of a section of the lake to its western side when he started to encounter some difficulties. The friend attempted to swim towards him to rescue him, but the youth went under the water suddenly and never resurfaced. An alarm was raised and the police was summoned to the area. However, his body was only discovered this morning. While the Cara Blue Lake and other blue lakes in Linden have become tourist sites in recent years, there is always a safety concern. The lakes are actual mined-out areas from the bauxite company. Many of the lakes have sudden drops and quicksand below the water.
It's your time to win big. Spend $2,000 or more at any Massey stores to enter our Christmas jackpot promotion. You can be the lucky winner of a brand new Nissan X-Trail. You can also win a sofa set, Samsung gas stove, motorcycle, $300,000 in cash, or a fabulous weekend trip for two. Shop now until January 31st for a chance to hit Massey's Christmas jackpot. Check out our Facebook, Instagram, or website for more details.
Still on the police blotter, police investigators are probing the murder of a young DJ who was chopped to death during a row at a party in the village of Laluni on the Soos-Dyke-Linden Highway. The 28-year-old disc jockey Brian Pittman, also known as DJ Viper, was at an event on Sunday night with his father-in-law in the Laluni area when the tragedy occurred. According to reports, during the course of the night, the father-in-law got into a physical confrontation with a group of men. Pittman got involved, and during his efforts to bring the physical altercation to an end, he was attacked by one of the men, who repeatedly chopped him about his body with a cutlass. The young DJ, who once worked for Kaicho Radio, was rushed to the hospital, where doctors pronounced him dead. A suspect has since been arrested for the crime. Well, retired Deputy Commissioner of Police Maxine Graham today told the Elections Commission of Inquiry that Assistant Commissioner of Police Edgar Thomas had ignored initial instructions to send additional police support to the Guyana Elections Commission's command center at the Ashman's building when a ruckus broke out during the tabulation of votes on the 5th of March 2020. She also told the commission that several statements that Thomas provided to the commission were completely false and untrue. The retired Deputy Police Commissioner, who at the time was responsible for operations in the Guyana Police Force, explained that following reports of a bomb hidden in the command center on the 5th of March, she observed via live security footage that there was a buildup of activities in and around the Ashman's building, and as such, she raised an alarm. Ms. Graham explained to the commission that while Mr. Thomas, who was the then divisional commander, had responded to the bomb threat early that morning, he had ignored her instructions to send additional support when contact was made with him at around 10 o'clock the same morning. According to her, Thomas, who now serves as the head of the Presidential Guard Unit, indicated that he had sufficient ranks underground and there was no need for additional support. Though the ruckus was streamed live, Mr. Thomas, she said, insisted that there was no need for additional police underground. Graham told the commission that attempts to make contact with Mr. Thomas a second time proved challenging, with calls to his cell phone going unanswered. She said it was not until she called his office that he picked up the phone line, but again maintained his position.
I said you were to head to Ashman now, because there's a situation there from what I'm seeing on the camera. Persons are moving from the first floor to the second and to the third floor. And he said, you have systems in place. I said, you cannot have systems in place when what I'm seeing happening, and look, I'm seeing on the camera, seeing the superintendent as well on the ranks, are in a tussle with people there. And you said that you have systems in place. You have to get additional ranks. Hear him on the set, he's asking for backup, he's asking for backup.
Who is asking for backup?
Azor was asking for backup on the radio set.
The retired Deputy Police Commissioner said she subsequently reported the situation to the then Commissioner of Police Leslie James, who instructed her to inform Thomas that he would be relieved of his command. She said she passed on that message to him the same evening. In his testimony, Mr. Thomas contended that Ms. Graham had instructed him to clear the command center. Today, Thomas denied that allegation, claiming that it was not until the 6th of March that she was informed that an instruction was handed down by the police commissioner to clear the Ashman's building. Graham also disputed the testimony of Thomas that she was in contact with the Deputy Chief Election Officer, making it clear that there was no such contact between the two on the day in question. Graham, who made references to her notes that she kept and compiled, served as a liaison between the police force and the Elections Commission in the run-up and during the 2020 elections. At one stage during her testimony today, she sought the Commission's assistance to get the Trinidadian Council to the Commission to speak to her in a lower tone of voice and more respectfully, saying that she was there to assist the Commission through her testimony, but it appeared as though others were there for various reasons. Police investigators probing the theft of 11 weapons from the Radar Security Company have recovered 6 of those weapons. 2 of the weapons were found on Friday during a police operation that also led to the arrest of the main suspect. On Saturday, 4 more weapons were found as the suspect reportedly took investigators to an Old Boys Town property where the weapons were stashed. Between Christmas night and Boxing Day morning, the 11 weapons were stolen from the security company's office here in Georgetown. The main suspect is an employee from the company who worked the last shift before the weapons were discovered stolen and had not been seen since again until his arrest this past weekend. Other security guards based at the company were also questioned about the weapons heist. The probe is ongoing as there are still 5 weapons missing.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor at the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyana Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyana's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, let's start off right next door in Brazil, where about 1,500 people were arrested after supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro stormed Congress, the presidential palace, and the Supreme Court on Sunday. The rioting came a week after President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva was sworn into office. He condemned the attacks as terrorist acts and vowed to punish those perpetrators. Mr. Bolsonaro has not admitted defeat and flew off to the U.S. before the handover of power. On Monday, he was admitted to hospital in Florida with abdominal pain. The new president, widely known as Lula, and the heads of Congress and the Supreme Court rejected what they call the terrorist acts and criminal coup-mongering vandalism that occurred during the riots. The dramatic scene saw thousands of protesters clad in yellow Brazil football shirts and flags overrun police and ransack the heart of the Brazilian state. Lula was forced to declare emergency powers. This morning, heavily armed police officers and military officers started to dismantle a camp of Mr. Bolsonaro supporters in Brasilia, one of a number that have been set up outside the army barracks around the country since the elections back in October. In Chile, the Justice Minister there, Marcela Rayos, has resigned from her post, the country's president has announced, amid accusations of wrongdoing over pardons given to people connected to violent 2019 protests. Attorney Luis Cordero Vega will take up the job in the coming days, as the president made known in a video statement. The Chilean president had backed the pardons for those convicted in less violent crimes during the protests that shook the South American country. The list of those pardoned, including men between the ages of 21 and 38, involved in various crimes such as looting, robbery, handling Molotov cocktails, and others. But political opponents decried the December pardons, which included a former guerrilla fighter imprisoned for other crimes. And finally tonight, international news. Dozens of people demonstrated outside a prison in Iran overnight amid reports that the authorities were preparing to execute another 2 anti-government protesters. Opposition activists posted videos showing people chanting slogans in front of the Raj Sahar jail in the city of Karaj. The mother of Mohammed Ghubudulu, one of the 2 men at risk of execution, appealed for clemency at the gathering. 2 protesters were hanged on Saturday, prompting international condemnation. The UN Human Rights Office deplored the shocking executions of the 2 men, which it said followed unfair trials based on forced confessions. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.